Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. It is Wednesday. It feels kind of like a Friday, but it's only Wednesday, and we've had a long week. We've had a lot of action. We've had a lot of movement. There's been lots of fake outs. You know, it feels like this market's one big fake out where you have gazillions of computers trading against levels, against a few humans, and it's very easy to be wrong, and it's a little bit harder to be right. And you have to just figure out why you're in things and figure out if the market wants or confirms why you're in them, and also know, the time frame that you're giving it to or your risk tolerance. Because if you've been in the market for multiple years, today meant nothing to you. If you were trying to play the market for a breakout, or you were trying to get some follow through, or you were trying to, get some momentum, there was none. But that's what happens on Fed days. Fed days are just not the same way they used to be. So let's just get through some charts. You don't have to listen to me jibber jabber. You got the S&P. Look what happened here. All in all, if you take a step back and look at it, still pretty healthy, right? This was your descending channel. This was your high here of 2011, came all the way down to 1978, ignited yesterday when Hilton, whoever, the Fed, I just have a hard time with his name, said they're not going to remove the language, and they didn't today. Market took off. It did. Tried to get back to highs, and then came back in. So we're not there. So I guess one good thing is we don't have to read the headlines about markets being in new highs and you have your grandma call you about how much money you should be making. But anyway, now you have a doji, and hopefully we get a few inside days here so some charts could rebuild and we can get a little bit more confidence in some names to hold bigger size and last longer with. So at this point you have today's low, which is 1993, which held above the level I talked about this morning, and as long as it stays above here, you got to be semi-constructive on the market. You look at the Qs. Also, take the Fed out of the picture. You take all the noise and everyone talking, because that's what a lot of people do. They talk. Overall, remember, it broke below the support, came back above, and pretty much held in there. So not every day is going to be a breakout day. So we'll see what happens in here. Hopefully, the market makes it easier to hold. 98, 93 would be nice to go sideways in here, so this way we could see relative strength and see some chart patterns develop for a potential move. You go to the Russell real quick to see what it did today. Not a heck of a lot. Still not falling apart. People keep comparing sector strength and this and that to the Russell, where no one really judges how they do versus the Russell. Just the Russell has been somewhat of a laggard, and there's been times and places to be long it or short it, with these descending channels. And this descending channel was a good time to buy it. This ascending channel that broke below has been a good time to wait and see. Same thing happened here. This descending channel, good time to be short, broke above it, held, boom, commitment, good time to buy it. Sometimes you have range trades, and range trades are not the easiest. What did the banks do today? Banks tried to push above a prior high, and kind of held okay, just didn't close in the highs, still looks pretty good. Nothing too worrying about there. The one thing I will say, though, that I kind of hate about Fed days is sometimes you get the opposite of what took place, but really nothing took place there. We're only up 20 points, so if we're down 20 points, who cares? But it's hard to gauge. You get all these false moves, and the first one was down. If you bought it, you probably did better than if you bought the breakout because we came back in. So with all that said, there probably wasn't that much to do. But there's been some continuation of trends and continuation of scenarios. And, everyone knows that I've been saying avoid gold or get short if that's what you do. And, today took another turn for the worse. Technically, what has gold told you to do? Right here, it didn't know what it was going to do, right? It was wedging, could have been strong, looked as if potentially there was going to be some type of resolution. What did it do? Resolved to the downside. So if you didn't have a strong opinion and you weren't an arrogant, you probably could have got out of the way and saved yourself some money or saved people that follow you some money. Instead, you stick with it and, blow people up, I guess, or whatever, whoever does. And there you are at the lows. So we'll see what happens. This was a spot to, not press shorts, but hopefully you've been out of the way. And if you're in my community, you probably have been. Same thing goes for the TLTs. It's been a great trend up until the island top. Then you had an island top, and all of a sudden you had a little shot across the bow right there on this gap down that trapped everybody, and then right there you could say, oh, you know what, it's been a heck of a move all the way to start 2014. Maybe I need to switch some gears. Let's see if there's continuation. On this day there wasn't, on this day there was, and that's your out. Now you're all of a sudden, what do I do, what do I do? So at this point, I don't know what you do if you long from here and you don't know how to make adjustments. Same way with the TBTs, gap up. Today they didn't drop the language and it was still strong. I don't know what that means. Is the Fed losing credibility? Is this, is that? All I know is this gap held, ignited a move, and then this gap held, and it still looks strong. You could get some kind of blind side tomorrow if that's how you trade. I don't trade for blind sides. I trade for trends and patterns, and this one's still holding strong, and it looks like after this tremendous move that we've seen, it's not showing any faulty signals yet. So whatever. As far as high beta tech, what's Tesla doing? Not a heck of a lot. All my lines are erased today, and you have this going sideways, so I'd be a little careful as it tests resistance. I wouldn't be looking to buy that. I tried shorting it today and lost money, to be honest, and it wound up going negative, and some guys made money. Just shows you how bad I am at shorting or uncomfortable, but at this point it still has a lot to prove. What did Netflix do today? Netflix also, not a heck of a bounce back. Netflix broke this upper area after lots of nice buys, and PS, one day bounce after coming in about 30 points, and then today nothing. So it's just a whole lot of nothing right now, as we see. Google actually gave you 2 strong days. Good for Google, or good for you if you're in Google. There was some relative strength. I know that I've been talking about end of year perhaps on a macro level, 630, 640. As of now, it's still hanging out. It's still going sideways. You still have a potential cup and handle here, where here's the cup, here's your handle. I'm not in it. But if you were looking as a trade, there are 2 things to do. One, if you sold into this trend, that's actually when I got on my Google right there, and I just haven't revisited it because I haven't. It should have held here, and then you had this doji, and right here was your little trade, and it's still good. It still looks okay. So we'll see what happens there. Apple, hanging in there. Let's just draw my trusty lines, which is what I do. It's very easy. This is what a technician could do. You could draw a trend. Ooh, look at that. All you need is a paper and a ruler, and not too smart, whatever. Nice little pattern, 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 and now, not saying it's going to go above there yet, but it looks pretty good, and it closed pretty strong with the market coming in. So this wedge type pattern still looks good. If you are short it, you have an opinion that this is going to break to the downside. If you are long it, you should be in a tier 1 and wait for momentum, because right now it's still telling you that the active trend is strong and the macro trend is strong. So the chart is giving you more indication to be long versus blindly shorting it. So whatever. You look at Facebook, gave you a push and still hanging around. Did hold the majority of yesterday. At some point, let it go a little sideways before maybe going again. Broke the trend, came back quick, something that's a candidate to be stronger. Twitter was stronger yesterday. Today came in a little bit. Still, holding in relatively well. Just needs some time, so I think that's okay. What else? This Moby at the end of the day went pretty got pretty strong and closed very well. Guys on top of this had a nice trade. I'm not sure what happens tomorrow, but maybe it continues. Nice bull flag continuation, bull flag continuation. Faye, there's some thought that some kind of new product, a new announcement is going to come out. It looks okay on the chart. I don't trust this stock, so I have some options. We'll see what happens if we can get above this tomorrow, which is 36.85. Perhaps it continues. There is a lot of security issues out there, and this thing's been battered and bruised since all the way up here. And this was a great example on how not to have opinions. And I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to, because I want people to learn, because people don't. This was a very, very strong stock, right? Wasn't this a strong stock? Gap up, flag, continuation, sideways, continuation. All-time highs, 95 bucks, and then what happened? Boom, breakout failure. That's when you reduce risk, your data take notice. Then what happened thereafter? Gap down. Ooh, what's that? An island top. Gap up, gap down, change of direction. And then what did it look like here? Looked as if it could be stabilizing. So some people said, oh, look at Faye. I didn't chase it here at 95. Looks like you have a descending channel here versus 75. And then this took place. Boom. So if you use that as a stop, you got out of the way. Doesn't matter that it was all the way up here and you didn't chase it there. Look where it came from. Came from $40 friggin'. And then tried it again and again and again, and P.S. that's where it is now. Okay, so I'm going to say with some tough love, the same thing happened with Sperling with this DGLY. Okay, really big move. Okay, look where this stock friggin' came from. It came from less than $7. Okay, this in July was actually, no, in June it was less than $5. Okay, and then flagged, was a very good long here, right, when it broke above 7. Then it broke above 15, and then everyone was buying anything with a camera, and it extended. Okay, but again, in August, this was $6. So granted, if you missed this move lower, okay, which some people did and said, okay, let me try it here. Still, it's a thin stock. Where did it come from? And then, boom, this 22 could have been your out instead of sitting in it. Okay, and now, who knows? But anyway, you got to figure out where things came from and know your time frame and why. And this has been no, I'm not even going to say just, a tough trade. But you have to realize, that it's not, it's just what it is. Same thing for this little one, ISNS, I got to give it some tough love too. This was $2 in August. Yes, it went to 10, but who knows why? And then if you tried it here, thinking that maybe it holds and continues, okay, you know what? It didn't. So now it's all the way back here. So can you get a trade maybe, into this, but it's not going to be the same stock. We talk about retracement rules, like if this was going to be any good, probably should have definitely held here or maybe even held around here. Now it's down here, now you might get a bounce, but don't be vested in it. So moral of the story is you have to, realize what you're in, why you're in it, and sometimes a bad trade could be written off a lot quicker than turning it into a disaster and getting you off your game plan for, for everything else. What did the banks do today? The banks, JP Morgan, still looks good. Still trying to, break above this little area here and holding the 8-day. I can't say there's anything wrong there in JP Morgan yet. I'm in Bank of America. Tried to go. Nice little flag. Not sure what's going to happen tomorrow when they talk about, the rates and this and that, but ultimately still above the 8-day. Nice little flag. That's something to, you could probably stay with. And to make a long story short, Fed days are not what they used to be. Market tried to break out, and just because it didn't close in the highs doesn't mean it's a dead short. But we were in 1978 on Monday, and now we tried to break above 2011 today. Big ranges. The ranges need to be absorbed. So all I'm saying is kind of have a reason why you're in some longs. Know why you are because of the chart or because of your thesis, and make sure the market confirms it. If you're not having success, just do a little bit less. It's been very choppy. Things have been pushed around. The volume's been light. It hasn't been that easy. Okay, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. It's not. Okay, I have a group of how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 different people over to my right that just started a week ago. 3 are out of college. 1's out of high school. 1's out of a media job. And everyone is trying to figure out how to navigate the market. If that's the same thing as you and you just started and you're out of college, you know what? You go to law school. How many years do you have to be in law school before you become a lawyer? 3 years. How much do you have to pay? $100,000 or more. That's even cheap. So don't think you're going to learn the market in 3 to 6 months and you're going to write a lottery ticket. Same thing, you want to be a doctor. Okay, my wife still has 6 figures in loans. It took her 5 years, to get good at what she's doing, and she's still working on it. So bottom line is, if you want to become a good trader, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. And you have to be committed to it. And then once you get good at it and you get consistent at it, you can do it anywhere, and the sky's the limit. Every day is different, and every day gives you opportunities if you make it. And the only ones that make it are the ones that stay the course and have a good work ethic, a good routine, and have a balanced life at home. With all that said, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.